Cool. Hello, everybody. It is me, your host, the Spamton Shop All Dialogue Deltarune Chapter 2 guy. About 4 years ago, I uploaded this video about Spamton and, you know, a shop dial. I mean, let's be honest, it's nothing too crazy. I took 3 minutes of raw footage, slapped it on YouTube, and somehow I almost have 400,000 views, and it is my most viewed video by a little bit. And I figured, you know, what better time to actually milk this video for views, being 4 years later with Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4. Wow! No, honestly, I want to dip my toes a little bit into the Deltarune, you know, theorizing kind of stuff. I want to see if I want to find connections between this little dumb video I made 4 years ago and see how it kind of intertwines with chapters 3 and 4, and potentially might even add some stuff onwards. So I spent a little bit, I made a quick little document, nothing too crazy, but we're just gonna kind of go through the video and, I don't know, hope for the fucking best here. Now the initial talking section doesn't have too much to really kind of go for, because a lot of it is just Spamton talking about how, please God, please get to the fucking secret boss, please God, let me have the power to go to heaven, etc, etc. He has a line where he says, in a deep abyss of the Queen's mansion, a great deal is waiting for a limited time only, which I believe Abyss is a song, but I'm pretty sure it's just used in chapter 2 when you're in the basement, so it's nothing too crazy to allude to. And then we have a couple extra lines later on. What do you think? It's such a good deal, I'm fucking myself, which obviously refers to the spam tennis shippers I see on Twitter. And then the other one we have is, take this deal and you will die, it's that good, which is a very ironic statement, because despite accepting this offer, Spamton becomes the easiest secret boss to go against. The one thing I kind of want to softly mention is that there is a line where he says, but Chris, don't breathe yet. The way is locked by a high-quality encryption. Now, it is a small little detail, but there was a act in the night fight against the Roaring Knight where you hold your breath. And since Spamton is, you know, possibly pretty correlated with the Knight, which we'll get into in a little bit, it's not too unreasonable to assume a little connection with that, but, you know, it's also... I may be grasping for straws here, but, you know, that's kind of what we're doing here while we're waiting for the next chapter to come out. Now, the About You section has a little bit more to offer. Spamton says, I used to be nothing but the email guy, now I'm the it burns, ow, stop, help me, it burns guy. And now obviously this is most likely just kind of referring to the absolute fucking insanity that Spamton has here. But Tenna does mention burn in during one of his bonus rounds, which, I mean, it could possibly allude to something similar to that. He also says, soon I'll even surpass that damned clown around town, and this is most likely referring to Jebel, because, I mean, it's referring to a clown. He says around, you know, the revolving world, etc. But it is possible that this could be a light jab at Tenna, because, again, they fucking hate each other right now for some reason. Amazed at this amazing transformation, you two can have a communion with unintelligible laughter. And I think it's a nice comparison because Spamton finally had some opportunity to get somewhere due to the Knight's influence, and not too unlike how Tenna was finally given, you know, something himself. He was given a proposition by the Knight. Knight was like, hey, keep the light nurse busy and you will be able to entertain as much as possible. And Spamton probably had some sort of similar thing where it's like, hey, I'm the Knight. Here's the thing, Mr. Spamton G. Spamton. You do the shit I want you to do, and I will grant you whatever you want. So it might have been something similar like that, and he's probably just kind of gently referring to the Knight of like, hey, if you get in with my special buyer, you too can get all of this whatever the fuck is going on. Now the big thing I do want to mention is hyperlink block, because there is a lot of kind of theories on what hyperlinked block even is. One of the main ones that kind of get pointed out is that it's possibly love, as in capitalized LOVE, as in levels of violence. It's most likely something like that. It's hard to say if it's exactly that because, again, it's hyperlink blocked. But, Spamton does have a lot of mentions to it. Spamton Neo mentions Noelle and Chris making hyperlink blocked and having their own supply in the weird route. Which, that's when they fucking kill everybody. So, probably correlated to love a little bit. Not necessarily related exactly to chapter 3 or 4, but I feel like it's something that we just kind of want to put on the table anyways. Now, the night has a very brief section. Speaking of communion, Chris, did you know that the night? No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Too many excess vacation days. Take a goddamn vacation straight to hell. I love that line. It's really funny. But yeah, this is one of the very few dialogues that Spamton has where it's not actually fully capitalized, where he says, I'm sorry. But I think the big thing I want to kind of mention is the night showing an almost omniscient presence. I don't want to say that they're fully aware of everything all the time, but we have to also keep in mind that the moment Tenna went against the knight's wishes and gave up Toriel to the Lighteners and let them go on ahead to seal the fountain, Tenna got fucking murked. So, considering that, and considering how the moment that Spamton might have actually revealed some critical information about the knight, Spamton kind of became aware and was like, wait, no, I'm sorry, please don't hurt me. It is definitely something that kind of correlates with it, with the knight having a lot of, I don't want to say an omniscient presence, but something adjacent to that, That section gets replaced with friends because, well, I don't think Spamton wants to talk about the knight anymore. And he says, we don't need anyone else, we don't need easels or CRTs. CRT pretty much referring to Tenna because, television. Easel, though, it's hard to say. Easel could be referring to, like, TV easel where they put the TV on. It could be referring to an Addison advertisement. Or, apparently, how you receive the egg in Chapter 4 is through an easel. I haven't gotten any of the eggs myself. That's something I'm definitely going to do in my next playthrough. But perhaps something correlated could be with that. If he's mentioning easels and Chapter 4 has an easel related to the egg, which relates to the Forgotten Man, maybe Spamton knows him a bit? Maybe Spamton knows the Forgotten Man? Who knows? We don't need Mike. Mike becomes a character, Spamton, well, the thing about Mike is that Tenna pretty much relies on him throughout, like, the entire thing, right? Like, not that he's mandatory for everything, but there's a lot of moments where Tenna is going, Mike, do this, Mike, hit the board, Mike, cut the music, Mike, cut my children, something like that. So, Mike, to Tenna, Mike seems like Mike is a very close friend to him, even if we don't even know if Mike is real or not, or what even happened to him. And it's pretty clear that Tenna very much so relies on just the idea of Mike. And seeing how Spamton falls into a similar sort of thing where he kind of breaks his insanity character, it's interesting to see that Mike is clearly a pretty important character between the two of these, way more than we originally thought. And for all we know, like, they'll be even more important later on, but it's really hard to say. Chris, don't believe anything you see on TV. The man's a criminal, I tell you, a criminal. And this is obviously referring to Spamton still being upset about breaking up with his ex. And believe me, if I broke up with Tenna, I'd be pretty upset as well. Final section we got here is Fear, which is a very brief section. Spamton saying there's nothing to fear except, can anyone hear me? Help. Saying, huh? What? No, I didn't hear anything just now, but it sounded like they were talking to you. Now, it was kind of debated on earlier, but it's most likely that they're talking to either the player or just Chris, and it's most likely just the player, because it's hard to say. It could go one way or the other, right? But I think a lot of people were theorizing, and it seems a lot more likely that it seems a lot more likely that Spamton is specifically talking to the player with their soul. Because as we kind of seen from Chapter 3 and 4, it seems like Chris is working with the knight one way or another. And so clearly, if Spamton is to actually reveal some information about the night, Chris might already know that, but the player's soul does not. You know, us, we don't know that shit, believe it or not. So Spamton might know that he needs to hide that sort of thing, and maybe throughout all of this, you know, kind of fear, as was shown earlier in the night section, Spamton's clearly terrified of the night and their presence, and then with such, Chris. Because, you know, potentially, Chris knows about the night and everything, and Chris is working with the night, so maybe Spamton is going, hey, player, soul, please, for the love of God, help me. There's a lot of little stuff here and there. Like, this is really just kind of a very brief sort of video I wanted to do, because I do want to dip my toes into the Deltarune lore kind of theorizing, and I feel like as the Spamton Shop all dialogue guy, I should at least dip my toes in a little bit. There are some kind of smaller, looser comparisons here, but there are definitely some more intricate kind of things inside of this that is making us go, wait, there's still questions we do not have answered, which is kind of the run for the money with how this is all going. But I'm curious. I don't know if you guys have any correlations yourselves with any of the lines that were said. I don't know if you have any theories or, you know, kind of things you want to follow up with mine, or if you just want to go in the comments and tell me I'm wrong, or if you want to keep going in the comments and telling me about how I forgot the key gen dialogue, which, yes, you guys are still asking me that after 4 years. I don't know what you want me to do about that, but I got 400,000 views, so it doesn't matter to me.